Jim Schultz here for Calculated Risk. And before we get going, don't forget, guys, the best way you guys can help us is to subscribe to the channel, like the video, or share it with a friend. How do I protect my portfolio? Like, that is the question that every single investor, every single trader is trying to figure out the answer to pretty much on a daily basis. And it's a very important question because all hedges are not created equally. So what I want to do today is let's move through 4 different hedging strategies, popular hedging strategies, and let's rank them from my least favorite all the way down to my most favorite. So let's go. So before we get into the power rankings, let's make sure we're all on the same page. Like, what is a hedge? A hedge is something you have in place that gives your portfolio, your core portfolio, some level of partial protection in the event of an outlier move. And the investing world, by default, is mostly long. So we're going to assume, for the purposes of this video, that the hedge that we're looking to put in place is against a long portfolio. So we have a long portfolio in place, and we want to hedge against a big downside move. This is what 98 to 99% of the investing public is wanting to do with their hedges. Okay, so easy enough. But one more thing. Everything has a cost, and hedging is no different. It is not free. If you want the gimme that is some level of protection, you have to be willing to absorb the gotcha that is a cost on that hedge. So strategy number 4, long puts in an index like SPY. This is my least favorite, like dead last. And I know this is going to surprise a lot of people because this seems like the most intuitive way to protect a long stock or long delta portfolio. I mean, the idea is very straightforward, right? Like, you have a bunch of stock, you have a bunch of long positions. If you buy some puts in SPY and the market tanks, then those puts are going to rise in value and they're going to help to offset the losses that you have on your core portfolio. Like, it's clean and it's simple. That's all true. But here's the problem. When are you going to think to buy those puts? When do most investors and traders look to buy those puts? When the market is falling, when volatility is rising, when the prices on those puts are soaring, and it becomes a very, very expensive trade to make, and it's just a really, really tough trade to make. So when should you consider buying puts? Well, ironically enough, it's when everything is going great. When the market is calm, volatility is low, and nobody is thinking about hedging their portfolio. That would be the best time to do it. But that's a tough trade to make too, because now you're like, man, do I really want to place this stick in the mud that is this long put that's going to kind of, disrupt the upward momentum and the upward trajectory of the rest of my portfolio? So long puts in SPY are just a really, really tough trade to make on both sides of the spectrum. Not to mention, there's a very clear repeatability problem here. Like, markets don't want to go down, they want to go up. Like, markets want to grind higher over time. Volatility wants to grind lower over time. And so when it comes to repeating these long puts, if you do this on a regular kind of rolling basis, like, this is going to be a losing strategy in the end. There's a reason why the Tasty research has looked at this so many different times, and buying puts over and over and over again becomes a losing strategy in the end. And that's because you are fighting against the natural drift of the market going higher. I mean, the wins are real, don't get me wrong. Like, if everything lines up and all the stars in the universe align and you nail that long put, then you're going to get paid on that trade. But in between, the costs that you have to incur, man, they are just going to grind you down. So strategy number 3, long calls in the VIX. Very similar idea to long puts in SPY, and I really don't love this hedging strategy either. But here, instead of positioning yourself for the market to go down, you're actually directly positioning yourself for volatility to go up. And the logic here is pretty solid, right? There's a reliably inverse relationship between market prices and market volatility. So if the market does sell off quickly and the market tanks, then volatility is very likely going to be rising quickly. I mean, that's VIX going 16 to 30, VIX going 19 to 34, or what have you. So if you have long VIX calls when that happens, then you're going to be in a position to profit from those long VIX calls. And it will certainly offset the pain that you are experiencing in your long stock portfolio. To be fair, it's a legitimate idea, but the execution is just really, really hard to get right. And the reason why is because volatility wants to contract. In fact, empirical studies have shown, empirical studies done by the Tasty research team, that volatility is contracting about 80 to 85% of the time. So that means those long VIX calls that you are holding, they are just decaying slowly but surely over time. So in a market that wants to grind higher and volatility that wants to grind lower, it can be very, very difficult to hold these long volatility positions. It's just a very hard thing to inventory, as we like to say. So long VIX calls are not a bad idea in theory, but they're just really, really hard to execute in practice. Again, you've got to get the timing just right, much like you did with a long put. A long VIX call is simply a difficult trade to make. So strategy number 2, short delta. Now we're getting into some hedging strategies that I generally like. So with short delta, we're thinking short call spreads, maybe skewed strangles, maybe even some short futures. These are strategies that are going to kick in when the market goes lower to help soften the blow on an otherwise long stock or long delta portfolio. And while short delta is kind of similar to a long put or even a long call in the VIX, it's also fundamentally different because of that relationship between market volatility and market prices. So if I have a portfolio that is mostly filled with short premium, that means that those short option positions will benefit if volatility goes down. So if volatility goes up, that's going to hurt my short premium positions. But if I have some short delta baked into those short premium positions, that short delta can help soften the blow on those short premium positions that are otherwise getting hurt from the volatility expansion. And it's a more efficient way to protect that short premium relative to long puts, which are negative theta, or even long VIX calls, which are also negative theta. Now, of course, there's a catch with this too. I mean, there always is, right? Because the market still wants to move higher over time. So that was working against us with long puts. That was working against us with long VIX calls. It's also working against us here with our short delta. So that is the biggest cost of having some or mostly short delta positions in your portfolio. Remember, hedging is not free. Like, you have to absorb costs somewhere. So what's the answer? Well, the Tasty research has shown that if you want to hold some short delta in your portfolio, generally speaking, one short delta for every 2 positive theta is a very good ratio and relationship to hold. That way, your short premium is protected, at least partially so, and you're not so short that you're going to get just completely buried by the positive drift in the marketplace. So strategy number 1, we made it to my favorite hedging strategy, and here you go. Position size. That's it. Now, I know you guys were waiting for something glamorous, you were waiting for something super exciting, and I just dropped a simple trade small on you guys. But staying small really is the best, most effective way that you can hedge your portfolio. And here's the great thing. Here's the beautiful thing. You don't have to do anything extra. Like, it's already organic. It's endogenous to the system. You don't have to buy puts in SPY. You don't have to buy calls in the VIX. I mean, you can do those things too if you want to, but by staying small on entry, you just give yourself so much flexibility. And the only thing you're giving up, because again, remember, there's always a cost, it's the opportunity cost. It's the opportunity cost of all those times and all those days when everything is working out perfectly and you wish you were bigger. You wish you had more size. We've all been there, but we all also know that cuts both ways. There are plenty of times when it's like, man, I really kind of wish I was a little bit smaller today. That would make this a whole lot easier. Because when you're size small enough, a bad trade is just a bad trade. It's not an existential threat. Like, you're not worried about the lights going out. Like, you can just continue to trade mechanically. You can continue to trade objectively because everything is in relative proportion to where it should be in your portfolio. So when it comes to hedging, long puts are expensive. Long calls in the VIX are very difficult to time. Short delta can protect your short premium positions, but staying small is your best bet and the most effective way to hedge. And we'll see you guys next time.